Hey guys, Adam here. In this video, I'm going to be recapping today's Apple September 1st, 2010 iPod event. This was, of course, a long-awaited event. This is the annual event where Apple announces their new SKU of updated iPods plus new versions of iOS and iTunes. This year, they updated their new iPod Touch, iPod Nano, iPod Shuffle, Apple TV, plus, of course, they announced a new version of iOS 4.1, and they even talked about iOS 4.2, plus Apple actually announced a new version of iTunes, iTunes 10. So I'm going to be talking about all that in this video, and first off, let me cover the biggest change to all the new products out there. This is the new iPod Nano. The iPod Nano was basically crushed and restarted from scratch. It's completely changed. It now has a small multi-touch touchscreen and is about the size of an actual iPod Shuffle. Very small iPod Nano actually now. One thing this does not have is a camera anymore, which is kind of disappointing. But it's definitely a big step up from the last iPod Nano. So for the software, it has 4 app icons per page, and it's kind of like a modified version of iOS. So there's backgrounds and all that. You have 4 icons this time. There's not apps, but there is different icons like playlists, artists, now playing, and all those music-centered titles. Now, this new iPod Nano comes in 2 versions and I believe 7 colors, including the product red version. There's actually an 8GB model, 16GB, and yeah. The 8GB model is $150 and the 16GB model is $180. A little bit more expensive than I had wished, but at least the price didn't raise from the last model, which unfortunately did happen to the iPod Touch 4th generation, which let me go into now. This new iPod Touch 4th generation is a huge step up from the 3rd generation once again. Basically everything we thought was going to be coming to this iPod Touch is there. It's basically now a complete iPhone minus the phone and the 3G. It has the Retina display, the Apple A4 chip, a front-facing camera, even a back-facing camera, which some people didn't think was coming. It's capable of recording 720p video. There's a gyroscope and more. It's actually $230 for the 8GB model, and of course, once again, Apple's skipping the 16GB model. And there's a 32GB and a 64GB. And no, there's not an 128GB like some people wanted. Now, next up is the new iPod Shuffle. This is kind of what I think is kind of like a step back with the Shuffle. It's not using the new design that came out, I think, 2 years ago, where it's like extremely tiny. Now it's basically a square device. It has the Apple physical scroll wheel / button configuration on the front. So there's no longer no physical buttons on the device. There's VoiceOver. There's actually a physical key on the top for that. And it's still really tiny. Basically, the scroll wheel is the entire device. There's really not too much around that. So it's very small. It actually has up to 15 hours of audio playback battery life-wise, which definitely seems great. And I forgot to mention the iPod Nano supposedly has 24 hours of audio playback. Now, this new Shuffle is 2GB or I think 4GB. The 2GB model retails for $50 and is available in 5 different colors. Now, next up is the new Apple TV. I was really excited for this Apple TV, and now I'm kind of not. A lot of the new rumors were wrong about this device. Pretty disappointing, actually. It's not called the iTV, first off. It's not running iOS. You can't run apps, but it is $99, which is definitely cheaper than the last model of the Apple TV, which was a little bit more expensive than for what it was, in my opinion. So all your data is actually stored in the cloud in this new iTV. I'm going to be calling it the iTV by accident. It's called the Apple TV. You can actually now get Netflix on here. You can get Flickr, YouTube, and mobile media like before. You can rent TV shows for a low price of 99 cents each and movies for a not so low price of $5 each. Unfortunately, the videos are only 720p as well, but I guess with the lower price, something isn't going to be great and no 1080p video. There's actually a new matte box here with an HDMI port, an Ethernet, optical audio, and USB ports on the back, plus 802.11 and Wi-Fi, of course. Now that's it for the new devices. Next up, we have the new software. First off, we have iOS 4.1. iOS 4.1 brings HDR photos to your camera on your iPod Touch, plus your iPhone phones. Which actually stands for High Dynamic Range Photos. So there's going to be a lot more color, and it's going to be pretty interesting there. Now, many bugs are also fixed in the iOS 4 from iOS 4.0.1 to 4.1. One which I'm really excited about is the proximity bug. So, of course, now you won't have to hang up people by accident with your cheek, which is definitely great. Super excited that that's finally coming out. And apparently, another big bug fix is that the iPhone 3G will run much smoother now. Now, there's also HD video upload over Wi-Fi, there's TV show rentals, and there's Game Center. We also have news about iOS 4.2, which Apple briefly talked about. Basically, iOS 4.2 is where iOS is coming to the iPad. Very disappointing that we're actually going to have to wait till November for this. But there is a pretty cool new feature, and it's something called AirTunes, where you can stream music and video to your iOS device over Wi-Fi. Now, finally, the last new update to the Apple product line / software line is a new version of iTunes. This is, of course, iTunes 10. So with a decade of iTunes, Apple redesigned the logo completely. They threw away the CD in the background, and now they have a more generic circle with a little music note on it. It looks decent. I definitely do like the old icon a little bit better, but, Apple doesn't care about my opinion. Anyways, the newest feature in iTunes 10 is that there's actually now Apple's new Ping social network built in. It's kind of like a music social network. Actually, it is a music social network. It's focused completely around music, so you can make an account, share and comment on different songs, music videos. You can say what concert you're going to, talk about other people with concert listings, and more. You can actually download iTunes 10 right now at apple.com/iTunes. There we go, guys. That's basically it for everything announced at the event today. Make sure to leave your thoughts below on all the new devices, plus software. Thanks all for watching.